Good evening and welcome, friends. This Sunday prime time. The fact that you are not watching cricket shows how seriously you take what's happening in and around you and the country. You know, it's a great game going on, irrespective of who wins, and most likely Australia would. India also played really well. It's a great game going on. But then, because you're watching news, let me get you headlines, and then I'm going to focus on two important stories that have trended last 24 hours. First one, a decision by the Yogi government on banning halal certification that followed an FIR filed in Lucknow which sought action against these agencies. We'll try to understand the issue, and also reports came early in the day that India has crossed the $4 trillion economy mark. Official confirmation awaited, but then it's an important landmark, so we'll discuss. Let's begin with the headlines first.
ये योगी सरकार का काम है, कैसे बंटवारा हो, कैसे आपस में लोगों के मतभेद हो, इनका काम है। प्रदेश की जनता को सुविधाएं क्या मिल रही हैं, क्या आप दे रहे हो?
Yogi government bans certain halal certified items. Samajwadi Party condemns the move. Congress claims divisive politics. Over 190 hours on, rescue operations continue on war footing in Uttarkashi, but no breakthrough yet. Unapologetic actor Mansoor Ali Khan now tries to justify vulgar rant. Demand for action grows louder. India crossed the $4 trillion milestone in a significant step towards a $5 trillion economy soon. Israel announces a 5-day temporary ceasefire. Reports suggest deal brokered by the United States. India set target of 241 runs for Australia in the ICC Men's World Cup 2020 final clash. Australia inching close to victory. A security breach at the India versus Australia final. Pro-Palestine protester disrupts the match. Well, in a big decision which we are going to discuss, the Uttar Pradesh government led by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has banned production, storage, distribution and sale of certain halal certified products in the state with immediate effect. However, export products have been kept out of the purview of this ban, and a political face-off has now erupted, with both the Samajwadi Party and Congress condemning and questioning the move. Let's see what's the issue, and then I come back to discuss.
Yogi Adityanath government banned the production, storage, distribution and sale of food products with the halal certification with immediate effect on Saturday. The Uttar Pradesh government has warned of strict legal action against the violation of the ban.
हलाल और हराम तो ऐसे नाम रख के लोगों को प्रोडक्ट बनाकर प्रोडक्ट के माध्यम से लोगों को धोखाधड़ी किया जाए, तो ऐसे धोखाधड़ियों की जो जगह है वो हमारी सरकार उन्हें पहुंचाएगी और निश्चित रूप से उनको कड़ी से कड़ी सजा दिलाएगी.
Samajwadi Party attacked Yogi government over the decision, saying that it is a diversionary tactic.
ये हलाला हलाला कह करके केवल हिंदू मुसलमानों में नफरत का बीज बोकर अपनी चुनावी वेतन पार करने के लिए जो गंदा खेल खेल रहे हैं, इससे इनको बचना चाहिए.
तो अगर हम चाहते हैं कि हलाल का जो सर्टिफिकेट है वो तो जाहिर सी बात है कि जो धार्मिक तंजीमें हैं मुस्लिम देश उन्हीं से लेते हैं, तो अगर आप इसको बैन करते हैं तो मेरे ख्याल से ये जो लाखों करोड़ का भारत को फायदा हो रहा है उसका नुकसान होगा.
Congress also jumped in, calling the government decision divisive politics.
देखिए, ऐसा है, ये योगी सरकार का काम है, कैसे बंटवारा हो, कैसे आपस में लोगों के मतभेद हो, इनका काम है. प्रदेश की जनता को सुविधाएं क्या मिल रही हैं, क्या आप दे रहे हो? न लोगों की कायदे से दान खरीद हो रही है, न लोगों को गन्ना का भुगतान हो रहा है.
Responding to both Samajwadi Party and Congress, the BJP has hit back, saying that the ban should be extended across the country.
हलाल के नाम पर एक बड़ा फर्जीवाड़ा लगातार हो रहा था, जिसमें प्रोडक्ट्स पर हलाला सर्टिफिकेट के नाम पर एक फर्जीवाड़ा करके धन की उगाही की जा रही थी। सांप्रदायिक भावनाएं भड़काने का प्रयास किया जा रहा था। शिकायत मिली, एफआईआर दर्ज हुई और योगी सरकार ने अब कठोर एक्शन लेते हुए उत्तर प्रदेश की सीमा में हर प्रकार के हलाल प्रोडक्ट्स पर बैन कर दिया है।
हलाल खाना वैसे ही पाप है, तो हमें तो किसी भी तरीके का उसके आसपास जाना भी पाप है। तो लेकिन जो ये पैक्ड फूड्स में चीज़ें आती थी और छोटा सा लिख देते थे, लोगों को पता भी नहीं होता था, जिनका धर्म अलाउ नहीं करता, और वो इसको सेवन कर जाते थे और बाद में पता चलता था। तो इसलिए एक अच्छी पहल है सरकार को इन सारी चीज़ों के ऊपर, खाली यूपी में ही नहीं देश भर में इन सारी चीज़ों के ऊपर चिंता करनी चाहिए।
The decision of Yogi government came after an FIR was registered on a complaint alleging that some organizations were issuing illegal halal certification for several products. Bureau report for Republic TV.
All right, joining me, Nikhil Jain. Legal Mind gives us the views of the Congress party, leans towards left and centre. Atikur Rahman, he's going to give us the view, the Islamic view on this entire controversy. We also have Deshratan Nigam. Legal Mind leans towards the right, and Shalam Mani Tripathi, a legislator from Uttar Pradesh and a former advisor to the Chief Minister, Yogi Adityanath there. Thank you so much to all my panelists first for joining us, sparing your time while everyone is watching cricket. And I want to begin with Shalam Mani Tripathi, with you, because this debate is engendered by a decision taken by the Yogi Adityanath government. Has the government really jumped the gun? You think the government could have waited? सरकार रुक सकती थी, इन्वेस्टिगेशन होता, एफआईआर हुई है, उसके बाद करते, इतनी जल्दबाजी क्या थी?
नहीं, देखिए, ये जो एफआईआर हुई है वो एक शुरुआती जांच के बाद ही हुई है, और एफआईआर का मतलब चार्जशीट नहीं होता। एफआईआर का मतलब इन्वेस्टिगेशन होता है। तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन होने दीजिए, जांच होने दीजिए। क्योंकि प्रमाण के तौर पे तमाम सारे ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स मिले जिन पे ये सर्टिफिकेट लगा हुआ था, और ये सर्टिफिकेट देने वाली जो एजेंसियां हैं वो एजेंसियां कहीं भी अधिकृत नहीं है। ये देश संविधान से चलता है, बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर जी का संविधान है, कानून है। और आप मुझे बताइए, जितने भी लोग बैठे हैं, कि क्या कोई भी ऐसी संस्था कानून के मुताबिक किसी ऐसी संस्था को बनाया गया है जो ये सर्टिफाई कर सकती है कि कौन सा प्रोडक्ट हलाल है और कौन सा प्रोडक्ट हलाल नहीं है? और बात शुरू हुई मीट से, और कहां तक पहुंच गई कि अब जो है चाय पत्ती भी हलाल होने लगी और गैर हलाल होने लगी। अब जो है साबुन भी हलाल और गैर हलाल होने लगा, फर्नीचर भी हलाल और गैर हलाल होने लगा। तो ये किसने अधिकार दिया है कि आप सारे प्रोडक्ट्स को इस्लामिक और गैर इस्लामिक कैटेगरी में अगर बांटेंगे तो निश्चित तौर पे इस देश के भीतर, इस समाज के भीतर एक अलग तरह का एक आपस में मनमुटाव पैदा होगा। और इसी को रोकने के लिए उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने कार्रवाई की है। क्योंकि सर्टिफाई करने का अधिकार किसी भी संस्था को, किसी भी एजेंसी को नहीं है। हाँ, जिनको है वो सिर्फ इतना सर्टिफाई करते हैं, तमाम सारी हमारी एफएसएसआई संस्था है, वो क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट देखती है कि कौन सा क्वालिटी अच्छा है कि नहीं है, आपको कंज्यूम करना है कि नहीं करना। अगर क्वालिटी अच्छी होती है तो उसका सर्टिफिकेट मिलता है। बाकी ये कौन सी संस्था खड़ी हो गई जो ये तय करना शुरू कर दे कौन सा प्रोडक्ट हलाल है, कौन सा प्रोडक्ट हलाल नहीं है? इसलिए सरकार ने कार्रवाई की है, जांच के बाद कार्रवाई की है, प्रमाण मिलने के बाद कार्रवाई की है। और ये जो 50,000 से लेके 5 लाख रुपए तक का फीस लिया जा रहा है, ये फीस किस बात की ली जा रही है, कहां पर उसका डिटेल्स दिया जा रहा है, क्या इनकम टैक्स को इसकी जानकारी है कि नहीं है, तमाम सारी संस्थाओं को जानकारी है कि नहीं है, फीस किस बात की हो रही है और इसका पैसे का उपयोग कहां पर हो रहा है, इन तमाम सारी चीजों की जांच होनी बहुत जरूरी थी, इसलिए एफआईआर दर्ज की है।
Right. Of course, there has to be an inquiry and investigation since there is an FIR. But my question was whether the government could have waited. But let me just take this to Ratan Sharda also before we go to the other side. Ratan Sharda, the impression is that it's a matter of choice. You can actually ignore it. You know, even Baba Ramdev, most of his products have this halal certification, not just for export, but even for consumption of the home market in India. You think this is certain myopia, or maybe just because you wanted to pick up an issue and that's why this has happened?
Abhishek, this is not the first time that halal issues come up. You're very well aware. You are in the journalism for long years. This struggle has been going for years. Is it only right of Muslims to have certain kind of food? Do others, non-Muslims, don't have right to have foods of their own choice? Should a Sikh who is totally, for whom halal is a haram, should be made to eat halal food? So if there is a matter of choice, why there is matter of choice only for one community, not for others? If they want a certain kind of certified food, please have them. But you can't force others to have it. It's forcing a minority 50% view on 85% non-agreeing people. And most serious issue is that it is an effort to monopolize businesses, monopolize manufacturing, monopolize entire supply chain, because a halal means 100 things to 100 people, which nobody will clarify. And there are agencies of making huge money without any responsibility. I know of people who are given certificates just by walking around and taking money. 2 lakhs per year for every company, for every product. You think it's not fleecing? And I said, when you say it's a halal, that means the khatik, the other kasai who is not Muslim, loses the entire control on his lifeline. So there can be no other butcher except Muslims, because the other butcher does not know kalma, he cannot recite it, so he cannot be part of the supply chain. The supply chain, especially of meat, can be clearly
Yeah.
for Muslims or non-Muslims. You can't force. Then what is being exported, fine. Why should I suffer with this particular compulsion? I don't have a choice for my own self. Bigger issue
Right.
is monopolizing supply chains and oppressing people who are not part of the chain,
Right.
and throwing them out of the economic well-being and suffering for life
Right.
with unemployment and all that.
Okay. Okay, you see, Ratan Sharda, I don't agree perhaps with the first part of your answer, which is that you can't force. I think nobody is forcing, it's a matter of choice. But the larger issue that you raised, which you yourself admit, is the monopoly.
Abhishek, just a moment. If you go in a plane or a train, you are not offered non-halal food. Is it not forcing somebody some choice on me? Are you offering non-halal tea or non-halal biscuit or something like that, or non-veg, non-halal chicken to me? I am not a non-veg, but anybody, Sardar, a Jain, or whoever wants
No,
to eat.
what's the
Are they
problem
offered
if
a
you're
choice?
having tea
They are not
which just
offered a
has one
choice.
certification and otherwise it's absolutely same Assam tea? What's the
Because
problem with that?
it hurts the economic interest of people who are not part of the supply chain. So 15% people want to control much more higher share of business, because they will only certify. Nobody else will be the supply chain.
Yes, I
That is
agree.
the real issue.
I agree with that, absolutely. So let's focus on the real issue. You know, the matter of choice and force, I think, is perfunctory. More important issue is the issue of monopolization, the issue of exclusion of others who are not subscribing to this.
Yes.
Nikhil Jain, before I go to Atikur Rahman and try to sort of put these questions to him, you see, this is not government approved. This is a private agency, private limited company actually carrying out this kind of certification. And now, with the kind of monopoly they are creating, first it starts as a carrot and then becomes a threat that if you are not giving halal certificate, your market, your sales are going to get affected. So obviously, this is an exclusionary business practice, which is aimed at removing some sellers, some producers who are not subscribing to your philosophy and ideology and idea and religion, and you are excluding them from the market. So obviously, purely from the market dynamics point of view, also for the religion part, I'll go to Atikur Rahman, Nikhil Jain. From the market dynamics point of view also, this is unfair.
Can I come in now, Abhishek? See, this entire argument that just because the product is halal certified, there a monopoly is trying to be created on that product, that is absolutely fallacious. Because halal certified does not mean that products that other people of other religions cannot consume. If you look at the specific example of consumption of meat by Sikhs as per their religion, yes, halal meat would be something that Sikhs are not supposed to consume by their religion. Mr. Ratan Sharda said that Jains should also Jains might also want to eat meat. Jains are not supposed to eat meat by their religion. They may or may not, that's a personal choice. But when we are talking about religious beliefs, let's stick to religious beliefs. Then the point is being raised that these are all private companies, as is Moody's, as are most of the rating or accrediting agencies around the world. Probably the government of India or a state government could have had a body that could have given halal certifications to various producers of various goods. But to say that just because a product has a halal certification, that is creating a monopoly or that is excluding other people, that is absolutely absurd. You yourself, Abhishek, gave the example of how Baba Ramdev's products, Patanjali's products, and I don't think they sell meat, they also come with a halal certification. Halal certification does not necessarily mean that jugular slice killing of an animal and then making meat out of it. It simply means that any food or any produce that is prepared in adherence to Islamic principles. As simple as that. I may not want halal certificate. If a product does not have any pork or any component from the animal pig, it is halal certified. Does not mean it is a meat product. It could be
Okay,
very well a
listen,
vegetarian product.
Nikhil.
It has nothing to do with anything else. And
Listen.
Hindus can make halal
Nikhil.
certified products, and nobody is forcing
Nikhil.
people to buy halal certified products. They can buy anything they
Nikhil,
want.
Nikhil, I think what you are giving is a very liberal argument that I'm okay if there is some certification there for a certain community. I will make my choice. It's not imposition on me. It's only for the people who follow it, right? It's a very liberal argument. I agree with it. But Atikur Rahman, you agree with this liberal argument? Atikur Rahman? I'll come to you, Ratan Sharda. Let me get the opening comments. Atikur Rahman, you agree with this liberal argument that it's a choice? It's just a certification for the Muslim community. Others can make a choice. They can choose it, pick it, not pick it, whatever, right? You agree with the liberal argument?
Why not? Why not, Abhishek? We need to be very much careful that Indians by
you agree,
nature are
right? Just say
sensitive
yes. Just
towards
say yes.
these
Just say
issues.
yes.
Can
Just
we
say yes.
forget?
Just say yes. You agree with the liberal argument,
Of course,
right?
yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
Okay,
we need
so
to
agreeing
agree
with this,
now,
because answer my question. If the products simply
now
say,
it is being forced.
if the products simply say that they are, listen. Answer my questions. You say this liberal argument is right. Now, extending this liberal argument, if the same products which have halal certification, if they say these are dharmic, these products are certified dharmic, and they are blessed by a deity, what would go in your mind? Would you accept it?
Who stops? Aren't we very much familiar with the Jain items, Jain food, Jain canteens, Jain tables, Jain corners? We are used to it. Have we objected to that, Abhishek, at any point of time? No. So here comes the argument, if the sensitivities of the people are there,
we have not objected to it,
to
Atikur Rahman, but the Jain items available wherever they are available, they don't say that the items have to be certified. They don't say that you have to pay a certain fee to get that certificate. Then they don't say that this is this size of market and you better do it. So it's incremental, right? That is something which is being
the
objected
markets
to.
are there. The markets are affected. If there is no Jain menu in a restaurant, the market is affected. The people won't consume. Most of the people, even I am going to a restaurant, I prefer Jain food because it's a matter of my choice. I prefer that it should be cleaned. If it is Jain, it should be cleaned. If it is not having onions, it's a matter of choice entirely. The liberal argument counts very much.
Ratan Sharda, you agree with that?
The sensitivities of the people.
Ratan Sharda,
Can we forget 1857 mutiny? The sole argument was this.
He's making.
Because the pig was, please, Mr. Ratan Sharda, the cow fat was sacred to the Hindu community, and the pig fat was not sacred to the Muslims. The 1815 mutiny was the sole purpose for this cause. Sensitivities of the Muslims.
What's this argument?
Hindus,
What's this argument of Atikur Rahman? I'll counter that, but let me get Ratan Sharda to respond to that. I'll also come with a counter, but let Ratan Sharda respond to that.
The argument.
He is making very simplistic.
Okay, it's not as simple as that. Ratan Sharda, is it as simple as that?
Because when you go to restaurants, it's a different matter. When you're buying from FMCG market where you have no choice but to pick up some of the package, when all the packages are marked halal, what do? When I go to airline or go to a train and to pick up anything which is halal certified, I have no choice because there is no other option. And when I talked of Jain, I meant Jains are forced to take even vegetarian food which may be halal certified, which they want. But Jains are not forcing certification. They are not forcing anybody to buy products. They make their own choice. So don't mix up with the restaurant because there is a choice. In case of FMCG product, there is no choice. And also, I am talking of production supply chain. I am not talking of consumption end. Mr. Jain is Mr. Nikhil is mixing up the matter. अरे बाबा आपको टोकन है, आपका टोकन जरा चुप रहेंगे आप.
I'll explain to you. Ratan Sharda, let me just explain to him.
My view is Nikhil tried to mix up the issue.
No, let me explain. Ratan Sharda, let me explain to him. He's provoking you. Let me explain to him.
What is a halal certification? Is there a bar
Please
on the
explain.
non-Muslims or the
Please
Hindus
explain.
not to have it?
Please tell me halal meat.
I will explain. Ratan Sharda, just hold on. Let me explain. As Shalab Mani mentioned, he was quoting an incident which happened in a train, in a Vande Bharat train, where a tea packet said that this is halal, and the consumer said that why should I be bothered about halal? Why is this so? Now, Atikur Rahman, the problem with halal issue is that while I understand the idea of what is kosher, what is not, by the way, you might disagree with that, because what is kosher in Hebrew might not be halal for you in Islam, right? But then the point is that halal is specific to eating non-veg stuff is one thing, because then there is a certain process that is to be followed. But in the case of Assam tea, what is halal in Assam tea, for God's sake? Obviously, this is an attempt at manipulating the market dynamics to your advantage, to essentially communalize market dynamics.
So that's a very common sense of the people. The common sense of the people counts over here. What is halal and what is not halal in an Assam tea? So why are we being, made to take any of these choices? Are these sensibilities of the Hindus
then you agree
getting
what is
violated with the halal Assam tea?
It's not just about sensitivities. That's why I'm saying.
That is how.
So far as sensitivities are concerned, it's a matter of choice. But this is clearly a case of manipulating the markets, is the point I'm making. And because you asked what is halal certification, I tell you.
Abhishek.
No, I'm telling you. No, it's religion is of course getting violated because
violated over there. No, it's not getting violated.
I tell you how.
It's not getting violated.
Shalab Mani Tripathi, would you respond to that? ये कह रहे हैं कि कहाँ religious belief कहाँ से आहत हो गए आपके?
नहीं, देखिए, बहुत स्पष्ट ही बात है, कहीं किसी कानून में ये नहीं लिखा है, कोई अधिकार इस प्रकार का नहीं मिला है कि आप किसी फूड के साथ साथ और जो प्रोडक्ट है उनको आप इस्लामिक और गैर इस्लामिक, आज आप किसी आइटम को इस्लामिक गैर इस्लामिक कह रहे हैं, नहीं चिल्लाइए मत इस प्रकार से, आप अपनी बात सुन नहीं पाते क्या? ये क्यों इस प्रकार का दबाव बनाते हैं? आपको सबको पता है कि आप क्या करना चाहते हैं। आज आप किसी सामान को इस्लामिक गैर इस्लामिक
अतीकुर रहमान सुनिए, अतीकुर रहमान लिसन
करेंगे, कल को तमाम सारी चीजों को इस्लामिक गैर इस्लामिक करेंगे और इस्लाम के नाम पे अलग मुल्क मांगेंगे, तो ऐसे नहीं चलने वाला। ये बात देश कुरान से नहीं चलेगा, कुरान से नहीं चलने वाला।
It's not Islamic, it's halal. I think that's not a right proposition. That's not a right proposition, because by your own argument, Atikur Rahman, Shalab Mani, hold on. By your own argument, what is Jain food is, of course, Jain food. It is religious sentiment. So you can't say halal is not Islamic. That's really imposing Islamic views on the rest of the world by the subterfuge of right and wrong. You are imposing your ideas of ethics. On the rest of the world, which is not fair. Nikhil Jain, would you take that question? Nikhil Jain.
Abhishek,
Listen. Nikhil Jain, you are a citizen. Listen, Nikhil Jain, you are a lawyer. You are a citizen of a secular country, right? Forget about uniform civil code for a while. You are the citizen of a secular country where every citizen, once out of their home, is guided by the Indian Penal Code, the Criminal Procedure Code, the Civil Procedure Code, the Indian Evidence Act, the Constitution of India, right? You are not imposing any particular religious idea, philosophy, etc., on the citizens of the country as a state. So in the case of markets, so in the case of economy. But this is clearly an attempt to bypass those secular laws and to carry out imposition of a religious idea, philosophy on the rest of the population.
Can I at least speak? It would be imposition if the government
just imagine the strength of this manipulation, that someone like a Baba Ramdev is forced to go for this kind of certification.
He does it because he wants to sell to the Muslims and the Islamic countries. How are we saying he's forced to? See, I would have agreed with you had the government made a regulation saying that any meat sold in this country should be halal meat. That would be thoroughly unsecular, that would be thoroughly unconstitutional, and I would fight tooth and nail against it. But so long as private players are putting halal certification or dharmic certification or according to Sikh principles or according to Jain principles on their products, and people are buying them or not buying them because of that, that should be allowed in the market. That is allowed in the market. And let me make a more important legal point. Let me make a more important legal point, Abhishek. There's a very important legal point that we are missing here. The FIR that was registered by the person was claiming that there are certain organizations that are defrauding the people by writing halal certified, which is by default to mean that the companies using the halal certified on their products are not actually making halal certified products, but they're still using that. So basically, if I go up to the police and complain that there is this institution that is giving a fake degree, what the government does in return is they say, okay, nobody.
Good that you mentioned the FIR.
Sorry?
Absolutely. Good that you mentioned the FIR, because the FIR says it's the Muslim community which is getting cheated.
That this is again.
No, it's okay. The rest of the people are able to listen to me. Now the question is, good that you mentioned, good that you mentioned the FIR. Let me get into the detail of it. The FIR is filed by Shailendra Kumar Sharma. He says that what's the authority of these people who are issuing the certificates? This is obviously aimed at hoodwinking even the Muslim community, because in so far as a soap is concerned, a tea packet is concerned, a piece of furniture is concerned, as Shalam Mani was saying, there's nothing halal or non-halal about it, right? So obviously this is a case of hoodwinking even the Muslim followers of Islam in India. So essentially this disadvantages, also the FIR goes on to say, Ratan Sharda, that it disadvantages those who don't pay. So a form of extra legal mechanism, if not outright extortion, though of course the FIR goes on to say that this is an extortion, but this is an extra legal mechanism to sort of impose a certain idea and to even hoodwink even followers of Islam, Ratan Sharda.
I totally agree, Abhishek. I agree with this argument. But the argument remains when Mr. Nikhil says that you have a choice. Where do you have a choice? Do markets, supermarkets, retail markets have a choice from the manufacturer to have two shelves, one with halal, other with non-halal food? If that is so, I'm fine. It is not there. In trains, in aeroplane, do I have a choice? I don't have a choice. So there is a problem. And when I talk of exclusion of supply chain, nobody has responded to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people who were into business, into butchers and selling meat. They have been excluded because there is no more outlet for the non-halal food, and they cannot be employed in the mainstream meat market because that is nearly monopolized by the Muslim food market. So this kind of debates are being fooling people with the ultra-liberal argument to talk about that आपके choice नहीं है sir. If the manufacturer cannot put a separate packet for halal, non-halal, I have a problem. If the buyer doesn't have an option of buying halal, non-halal, I have a problem. This is monopolizing. This is monopolizing very silently, saying it's not religious, but it's religious. Why should it hurt my religious sentiment if I don't want to have halal food? Whether it's whatever the reason, because they don't clarify that what is going through for halal certification. This is food's paradise, where somebody is hoodwinking people, making money, and people out here trying to very clearly differentiate. If I say I don't want cow meat, I am called
Salam money.
If I say ban cow meat, I am called communal fascist.
Salam money.
They have a choice. I don't have a choice. Why should cow meat be sold when I am against it? Because
let me just.
So you can't have one way. You can't have both the ways. Either you follow for everybody or stop making this choice of food being a fascist or not fascist. This is fascism. When 15% people try to monopolize supply chain and eating habits, that's fascism.
Okay, Ratan Sharda, I have to wrap up the debate. But Shalam Mani Tripathi, since you represent the government view, you think the government can take a little more nuanced position in the sense कि क्या सरकार ऐसा कर सकती है कि जो हलाल सर्टिफिकेशन का प्रोसेस है उसको स्ट्रीमलाइन करे, उसको कंट्रोल करे और बोले कि ये सरकार करेगी, ये प्राइवेट कंपनी जो पैसा बना रही है और जो एक तरीके से इफ नॉट एक्सटॉर्शन, इट इज सॉर्ट ऑफ क्रिएटिंग अ सिचुएशन जहां पे कंपनीज को कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है वो सर्टिफिकेट लेने का, तो एटलीस्ट सरकार के कंट्रोल में हो, ऐसा कुछ कर सकते हैं?
नहीं, देखिए अभी ये बहुत शुरुआती तौर पे ये बात है। अभी इस पे जांच होने दीजिए, जांच होने के बाद जो भी लोगों से राय मशवरा करके क्या हो सकता है, ये भारत सरकार को तय करना है और उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार को तय करना है। लेकिन अभी तो फिलहाल ये विषय बहुत ही गंभीर है कि किस प्रकार से कोई एजेंसी खड़ी होती है, रातों रात उठ के सर्टिफाई करना शुरू करती है, 50,000 से लेके 5-5 लाख रुपए तक की फीस वसूली जाती है। पैसा कहाँ जाता है? आप जरा मुझे एक बात बताइए, लखनऊ के भीतर टुंडे कबाबी है, अब टुंडे कबाबी के भीतर अचानक कोई कहना शुरू कर दे कि वो गैर हिंदू फूड है, वहां कोई नहीं जाएगा, तो फिर क्या होगा? फिर तो बबेला करना शुरू कर देंगे, अतीकुर रहमान साहब भी बवाल काटेंगे, बहुत सारे लोग बवाल काटेंगे। लेकिन आज किस प्रकार से इस पूरे एक अवैध कृत्य को डिफेंड करने के लिए कुछ लोग बैठे हुए हैं, और मुझे लगता है कि ये एक बहुत बड़े समाज के खिलाफ साजिश है। अगर किसी को लगता है कि नहीं ये गलत है, किसी भी हिंदुस्तान के किसी व्यक्ति को लगता है कि ऐसा करके समाज को बांटा जा रहा है, तो एफआईआर करा सकता है। उसने एफआईआर कराई है, सरकार जांच कर रही है, और ये पैसा कहाँ जाता है, किस काम में उपयोग होता है, इसकी जांच होने दीजिए। हमें तो लगता है कि इसके पीछे कोई बहुत बड़ा खेल है। जिस प्रकार का सवाल उठाया गया एफआईआर में, हो सकता है इस पैसे का दुरुपयोग हो रहा हो देश के खिलाफ। इसकी जांच होने दीजिए, जांच जब संपन्न होगा उसके बाद तय होगा किस प्रकार की कार्रवाई आगे की जाएगी।
Abhishek,
30 seconds. The investigation in the FIR is one thing.
That I wanted to make on this.
Only 30 seconds. Atikur Rahman, only 30 seconds. Yeah. Only 30 seconds. I have run out of time. Only 30 seconds.
By this
only 30
logic,
seconds.
By this logic, all BJP government should be suspended because they come to power by buying the MLAs, by fraudulent means, by violating the federal principle.
No, that can't be allowed. Okay, I have run out of time. Atikur Rahman, that's not a logical argument. That's not a logical argument. You see, the fact is that there is an FIR. Investigation will go on. Shalam Mani, thank you. Shalam Mani, please. Atikur Rahman, pull back. Shalam Mani, pull back.
Can I make the important?
There is an FIR, an investigation would go on. There is obviously a legal aspect to it. We are a secular country. We are a country which thinks at some stage of getting a uniform civil code where once you are out of your home, the laws are same and similar. This is a matter of personal ethics. I think market dynamics should be ideally allowed to carry the weight and decide for themselves how it goes. I think the government also should take a little more nuanced position than just outrightly going and banning this thing. But this is a debate which has just started. Perhaps will continue for a while. Thank you so much for sparing your time, Shalam Mani Tripathi, Ratan Sharda, Nikhil Jain and Atikur Rahman, on a day where cricket was the focus. Of course, Australia picking up the World Cup. But I'm continuing with another debate, which is on an important development that has taken place, which should be heartening for everyone in the country, which is that India has crossed the psychological mark of $4 trillion in its GDP size. It's to be officially confirmed. Yet, these are IMF numbers, it seems, through a GDP tracker, which were picked up on the social media and also by some BJP leaders, and since then it has been trending, and that's why we are going to discuss that. I'll be joined in by a couple of guests from the field of economics. Let's look at this story first.
Indian economy touched a new milestone as the GDP surpassed the $4 trillion threshold in nominal terms for the first time. With a staggering GDP growth and now this milestone, India is undoubtedly the bright spot. $4 trillion economy is a figure that shows India is steadfast on its commitment to soon become one of the top 3 economies.
आने वाले 5 साल में मोदी का गारंटी है, देश पहले 3 वैश्विक इकोनॉमी में अपना जगह ले लेगा। ये पक्का जगह ले लेगा।
While Prime Minister has displayed a clear vision, there has been a group that has helped further a negative agenda of India.
Growth is going to slow in the world more generally. People are raising interest rates, that brings down growth. India is also going to be hit. Indian interest rates have also gone up, but Indian exports have been slowing quite a bit. So I think that we would be lucky if we do 5% next year.
The same group is now struggling to deliberate on one common agenda.
कांग्रेस को भी वोट मत देना, बहुत चालू पार्टी है कांग्रेस, सावधान रहोगे कि नहीं रहोगे? बंसल जी बेबंदे में दुखी थे, कांग्रेस ने धोखा दे दिया। अरे जब हमें धोखा दे दिया तो तुम कहां के बंसल हो?
It's delivery versus negativity brigade this election. Let's debate.
All right, I am joined in. Just a sec. I'm joined in by Mr. Ajay Dua. He's a senior economist, and we also have Akash Jindal.
No voice.
He is joined in, yes, and we have Vijay Sardana. So, whom should I begin with? Actually, with Mr. Ajay Dua first. Mr. Dua, you know, that soundbite that we ran of Raghuram Rajan, he said people are raising rates around the world. He was talking about central banks, obviously, and that's going to slow down growth, and I would be surprised if we do 5% growth. That he was talking about India about 3 quarters back, because he was part of that Bharat Jodo Yatra. Now, we have done more than 6%, about 7%, and we are the fastest growing major economy in the world. And today we are discussing this because we have crossed the psychological mark of $4 trillion. Obviously, it's a long road still to $5 trillion and then to $10 trillion and so on and so forth, depending on what time horizon you have. But then this is an important psychological benchmark, and this is a message to the likes of Rajan that we are doing better, isn't it?
Yes, I think let's be. Same. Have today crossed, say yesterday.
Did the video get stuck?
$4 trillion, which is a very
PCR, your voice is not
major
correct.
milestone.
It is breaking.
Can you hear me now, please? Yeah, am I clear?
I am able to hear you. I think there is some issue with Akash Jindal. We'll try to fix that. But please go ahead, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay.
I think there is some audio issue there also with Ajay Dua. I'll go to Vijay Sardana then. Vijay Sardana. Vijay Sardana. Okay, I think Mr. Dua is patched now. Are you getting us? Can we come to you, Mr. Dua?
Yes, please. I think you can. Thank you for having me.
Please go ahead.
$4 trillion is a very major landmark for experienced a very
Mr. Dua, bad network there. I think you need to disconnect and connect again, and we'll have a better line with you. But let me go to Mr. Sardana then. Mr. Sardana, this is an important psychological benchmark. $4 trillion economy. Okay, Mr. Sardana also disconnected. Let me try. Okay, then Akash Jindal then. Akash Jindal, if you are connected now, if your frame is not freezing, why is it? Are you getting me, Mr. Jindal?
Yeah, I can hear you a bit. Please ask the question. As far as what I couldn't hear your question properly.
Okay, Mr. Jindal, my question is.
I am able to make out is you are talking.
Okay, Mr. Jindal, my question is.
US dollar economy.
Okay, Mr. Jindal.
I think our economy is doing wonderfully well. That there are some reports which are suggesting that we have reached the $4 trillion economy mark, and that's great. Though official confirmations are still awaited, but Indian economy is doing great. See, we are the fastest growing economy today amongst major economies. 7.8% is our GDP growth, which is fastest in the world. Compare us with the 4 economies which are bigger than us. US, China, Japan, Germany, nobody is close to us. US, which is the role model economy, which is called the role model, the biggest economy in the world. Last year, for 2 consecutive quarters, they had negative GDP growth. Germany, the biggest European economy, 4th biggest economy in the world. This year, for 2 quarters, they had negative GDP growth. Now, what is being expected for Germany is that this year, they'll have a minus 0.4% GDP growth. Now you talk about China. Where is China? China is having deflationary problems.
Yeah.
And if you talk about China, there are other problems also. Debt issues, housing issues. Chinese economy is also performing very bad. Talk about India. October, this was the month when we had 2 wars going on. Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Hamas issue. But see our GST collection, 1.72 lakh crore. That shows how Indian economy is performing.
Okay,
victorious economy. In spite of major geopolitical issues, we had a bumper GST collection. Now we talk about online
Mr. Jindal.
transaction. 2022, the highest
Mr. Jindal, I was just looking for opening comments. I was only looking for opening comments. Can you help me, PCR? Mr. Jindal, I was only looking for opening comments. Let me take this to also Mr. Vijay Sardana. Mr. Vijay Sardana, your comments on the fact that it's an important psychological benchmark India has achieved, Indian economy has achieved today at $4 trillion. Since I know you are an expert from the agriculture side of the economy, you think everything is fine, or there are some issues which need to be addressed, which obviously always would be, but then at least near Diwali, some good news to take home?
Yeah, good evening to all of you. See, three important developments we have to focus on. First of all, the massive investment in infrastructure, which has given the strong fundament. Second, lot of economy which was earlier unorganized is coming into organized fold because of digitization and digital economy. So you will see better numbers and you will see the growth rate which is improving. Third, the best part of India is that we are mainly dependent on domestic market. We are not export oriented economy like China. So in domestic market, when we are not traveling from outside, it means investment is going up, the opportunities are increasing, infrastructure is improving, government spending is going up, and supported by demand, which is also escalating the investment by private sector. So overall, there is a positive vibes. The only concern for us is imported energy. Somehow we have to look for alternate of that so that we can insulate Indian economy from external jerk, which can create some negativity. So this I will say in opening remarks.
Okay, fair enough. Ajay Dua, before I go to Lokesh Jindal to get the critical aspects under focus, Ajay Dua, your opening comments on the important benchmark that India has achieved today. Again, some issue there with Ajay Dua, so I'll now go to Lokesh Jindal. Lokesh, you heard the comments coming in from the economists. They are the experts. They know what they are talking about. But we had Raghuram Rajan, another economist, but clearly pandering to his political masters just about 3 quarters back, which means about 9 months back, as part of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. He said people are raising rates that will, slow down growth, and we would be good if we do 5%, and we have done 6-7% every quarter. So obviously there is a political motivation to sort of paint a bad picture, but then India continues to grow. Lokesh Jindal.
Yes, good evening to all my fellow panelists. Yes, it is certainly that India is growing. We are today reaching the $4 trillion economy size, and it is inevitable. Look at the demographic dividend that we are at a state. Look at the strong agricultural base that we have, but look at the pattern of economic growth that we are moving towards. Even today, the life expectancy of Indians is only 70 years. In China, it is 78. In Germany, it is 80. Japan, 84. We have poor life expectancy index. What is our total expenditure on health? Very meager, not up to the mark. With respect to inequality, India's rank is 121. Now that is, again, we see that only 5% of India's riches, they control 77% of the resources. So as India is achieving higher economic growth, don't you think it is causing more and more concentration of wealth in the hands of few? And if such a trend continues, it is not a healthy economic development that we will see over a period of time. We will see that India, rather than its domestic demand, will have to rely more and more upon exports. The strength of Indian economy had been a demand-driven economic growth rather than export-led economic growth. But if you cause tremendous concentration of wealth in the hands of few, and if you ignore an equitable distribution of wealth, this fundamental parameter will be impacted tremendously, and that was what was highlighted by Raghuram Rajan. Thirdly, when I'm talking about the agriculture and the fundamental sectors, what do we see now? Manufacturing is not faring very well. Whatever economic growth we come across is service-led economic growth. Now, over here, the services sector is mostly dependent upon the primary and the manufacturing sector. Yes. So, and there is a lot of export-led services that is benefiting. The IT is one of the major contributors for it, as well as other services sector. But sir, the point is, apart from the books, don't you think it is more important that the economy must look into the fundamental aspects, the core industries, the fundamental manufacturing? Today also we are importing electrical
what makes you
equipments,
think this is not
electronic
happening?
equipments, the fundamentals with respect to automobiles.
What makes you think it's not happening?
We are more of an assembling economy. See, if you're talking about
what makes you think it's not happening?
If you're talking about the mobile phone industry, now in mobile phone, as per the production linked incentive that was introduced by the government in 2020, a 6% of subsidy was offered with respect to the final
I think you're not
invoicing.
getting me.
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Are you getting me, Lokesh? I'm saying yes, all these. So you are mixing macro and micro, I think. I understand some economics. You know, one is the macro view, which is fantastic, obviously, because the GDP growth rate and the size of the GDP
what is the savings
is
rate?
an indicator of a healthy, growing economy.
We have a lesser
one is the macro view.
rate.
Okay.
In the macro view, I would still emphasize that
complete.
the savings rate is not up to the mark. Okay, please, yes.
Let me complete. Let me complete.
Yes.
You think 6% is not 7%? In fact, 7% is not good. But China growing at 4.55 is good. That the United States growing at 3% is good. That Germany actually decelerating last 2 quarters is good. That UK just scraping through 1 quarter of negative growth rate and then bouncing back, but then still managing about 0.3, 0.4% growth rate is good. European Union as an entity just about managing 1.5, 2% is good. Japan just about 2%. Thereabout is good, but India growing at 6% is still a problem. Obviously, you are taking a political position, Lokesh Jindal, but let me get Vijay Sardana to respond to this. Vijay Sardana, obviously, nothing can't be perfect. Even the United States at $28 trillion or $26 trillion is not perfect. There is always room for improvement, and we have a long distance to cover. But then, you know, should we look at this benchmark that has been achieved today, or a landmark that has been achieved today, as a moment to draw positive energy out of it, or to really think, oh, this could have been done, that could have been done, Hindu rate of growth, we can't go 5%, India is not doing well. I mean, is that the moment to really think about those things, or to look at future with a lot of positive hope?
We have to be positive for India for a simple reason. See, India, all other markets which you are talking about, OECD market or G7 market, which people compare, please appreciate they all are saturated market. Their per capita income is more than $10,000 on an average. China has also become saturated from a level because they are export-oriented economy, and what Raghu Rajam said, that other countries are increasing interest rate, market will go down. Actually, that is impacting China more than India because China is export-oriented economy. As far as India is concerned, we are unsaturated market. Think about that, how many people have cars per capita or per 1,000 people, how many of them are hospital, how many. So every sector needs investments which will continue to attract. Now, Government of India has to create an enabling environment. We have to go for more reforms in areas so that more and more private sector can come in. Especially MSME revival is badly required. Still at top level, at senior level, you don't have corruption, but at ground level, at inspector level, still there is a lot of harassment for MSME. That has to be rectified. We have to go for more digitization, more simplification, more transparency in policy enforcement. Another area which we have to look at is skill development.
Yes.
As we know, the economies are changing, but our education system, mainly professional education system, is still archaic, outdated. They teach us what was required 20, 30, 40 years back. We have to relook into how the markets are changing, how consumer aspirations are changing, and we have to improve the skill sets of our youth, which is happening in a very slow pace. So there are areas
obviously
which
that's happening.
Economy will grow faster, but otherwise it is 1.4 trillion economy, people economy. There cannot be a better market than India anywhere today, even if you look into any dimension, any graph, any statistics, any logic. So we are in the best spot today.
Mr. Sardana, you know, I wish
fundamentals in place.
I wish
Yes. Can I
we are
second
now,
the
of course,
point?
it's India's Goldilocks moment. In fact, everything is going good.
No, can I
and we have to
second?
just
There's a
sustain
wonderful point
this
that has been
dream run.
stated by Mr.
But
Sardana. I would just like to add one more point to it, if you please. And yes, sir, certainly you are right. And with respect to savings and the investment rate, now that is going to be a major problem for India. If you look at the savings rate, it used to be around 36.9% in 2011. It has dropped down to 30% right now. And the present trend of saving and investment
okay, thank you so
rate,
much.
it is not
Lokesh Jindal,
sufficient
you know,
enough
the
for
savings
us.
rate
So
is
as to-
also correlated with the size of the GDP. At a greater size of the GDP, 30% savings rate also comes about with the same level of capital available for long-term growth prospects and capital formation. I think we will discuss those nuances over next few days, because remember, official confirmation is yet to come. On that note, unfortunately, I've run out of time. So thank you so much, friends, for joining us on a day when, of course, a big cricket match was going on. India unfortunately lost, but they played really well all through the tournament. Thank you so much, Ajay Dua, Vijay Sardana, Lokesh Jindal and Akash Jindal for joining us. And short break. News continues on the other side. Of course, Arnab Goswami is back with the debate Monday. That's tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
Powered by Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand. PolicyBazaar.com. Har family hogi insured.
QSMTHE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Her name is Anita ji. She was from a little village, a little far away from UP. She was pregnant for the 6th time, and the husband, in a drunken state, slit open her stomach to check the gender of the baby. Turns out it was a boy, but didn't survive. And now she was in the hospital. We reached out. We told her story, and we raised 25 lakhs for her and her daughters. Her brother called our head of content, Kirti Shri, and said, आपके टीम का फोटो चाहिए क्योंकि आप हमारे लिए आप ही भगवान हैं.
Catch Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India this weekend only on Republic TV.
वाह कालरा साहब, बड़ा हेल्दी शेल्दी चल रहा है.
डायबिटिक होना, सेहत का पूरा ख्याल रखना पड़ता है.
पर ये तो आधा है. डायबिटीज से इम्यूनिटी वीक हो जाती है, यानी बीमारियों का खतरा है. डाबर च्यवनप्राश शुगर फ्री है. ये आपकी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाएगा, तभी तो होगा पूरा ख्याल. डाबर च्यवनप्राश, इम्यूनिटी अब शुगर फ्री.
केंट से पानी होता है 100% प्योर.
केंट आरओ प्योरिटी दिखाता भी है.
केंट देता है सबसे शुद्ध पानी.
कांग्रेस वो पार्टी है जो निवेशकों को भगाती है.
क्या डर है आपको और किससे डरे हुए हैं जो आप कास्ट सेंसस नहीं करा रहे हैं?
आज 1 करोड़ नौजवान मध्य प्रदेश में बेरोजगार हैं.
किसानों के लिए जो काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने किया, कांग्रेस ने कभी किया था क्या?
राहुल गांधी को जो है ना पॉलिटिकल एमनीजिया की बीमारी है.
एक कांग्रेस पार्टी ना देश का विकास कर सकती है ना मध्य प्रदेश का.
Powered by बढ़िया है शुद्ध है MDH मिर्ची धनिया हल्दी असली मसाले सच सच MDH. Co-powered by Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand. Amazing spaces के लिए Green Lamb Laminates. कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा.
भाजपा सरकार जो बनेगी वो तेलंगाना में यूसीसी लाने के लिए, समान नागरिक संहिता लाने के लिए भी एक कमेटी बनाएगी जो 6 माह के अंदर तेलंगाना के अंदर यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को लागू करेगी।
और यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड की बात अगर बीजेपी कर रही है तो मैं अमित शाह से पूछना चाह रहा हूं, ये हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली के टैक्स रिबेट आप सबको दो, ये राइट टू इक्वालिटी जो हमारे आइन में उसके खिलाफ है, क्या आप हमको देंगे? अरे भारत को यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड की जरूरत नहीं है, मगर अपनी नाकामियों को छुपाने के लिए बीजेपी रिजर्वेशन को खत्म कर देंगे, यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को लाएंगे।
Powered by Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand. PolicyBazaar.com, हर फैमिली होगी इंश्योर्ड।
हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हुए नहीं कि बिल का मीटर चालू, और ये मीटर पहले आपके ऑफिस का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस खत्म करेगा और फिर सारी सेविंग्स। पर घबराओ नहीं, पॉलिसी बाजार पे 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू। ले लो।
फर्स्ट टाइम दाल?
या
नो पिन?
छोटी सी पेमेंट्स के लिए पिन नहीं लगता, मेरा छोटा सा नुस्खा।
लेकिन दाल तड़का के लिए दाल लगती है,
मेरा छोटा सा नुस्खा।
No PIN for small payments on PhonePe UPI Lite.
वाह कालरा साहब, बड़ा हेल्दी शेल्दी चल रहा है।
डायबिटिक हूँ ना, सेहत का पूरा ख्याल रखना पड़ता है।
पर ये तो आधा है। डायबिटीज से इम्यूनिटी वीक हो जाती है, यानी बीमारियों का खतरा है। डाबर च्यवनप्राश शुगर फ्री है, ये आपकी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाएगा, तभी तो होगा पूरा ख्याल। डाबर च्यवनप्राश, इम्यूनिटी अब शुगर फ्री।
Viewers, you're watching Republic TV. I'm Shivangi Shukla, getting you the latest, and many updates are coming in right now, especially as we are seeing multiple state elections take place this month. We'll get to all the updates, but first the headlines we are tracking at this moment.
ये योगी सरकार का काम है, कैसे बंटवारा हो, कैसे आपस में लोगों के मतभेद हो, ये इनका काम है। प्रदेश की जनता को सुविधाएं क्या मिल रही हैं, क्या आप दे रहे हो?
Yogi government bans certain halal certified items. Samajwadi Party condemns move. Congress claims divisive politics. Over 190 hours on, rescue operations continue on war footing in Uttarkashi, but no breakthrough yet. Unapologetic actor Mansoor Ali Khan now tries to justify vulgar rant. Demand for action grows louder. India crossed the 4 trillion milestone in a significant step towards 5 trillion economy goal. Israel announces 5-day temporary ceasefire. Reports suggest deal brokered by the United States. Australia wins 6th World Cup title after beating India by 6 wickets. Viewers, let's go straight to the top story we're tracking right now. It's day 8 of the rescue operations in Uttarkashi, and at least 40 workers remain trapped following the tunnel collapse. In a desperate fight to beat the ticking clock, officials have now begun preparations to drill a vertical hole from the top of the hill. Furthermore, The Border Roads organization is also trying to create an alternative route to the under construction tunnel. Republic crew is on the ground getting you constant updates.
मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी और केंद्रीय मंत्री नितिन गडकरी आज आपको बता दें मौके पर पहुंचे हुए थे टनल का निरीक्षण करने के लिए और यहां से रवाना हो रहे हैं। जिस तरीके से बातें यहां पर केंद्रीय मंत्री नितिन गडकरी ने की, उन्होंने सीधे तौर पर तमाम बड़ी बातें कही और ये बताया कि एक्सपर्ट्स की टीम लगातार लगी हुई है और 6 ऐसे विकल्प हैं जिसमें काम यहां पर किया जा रहा है और सबसे बड़ा और आसान विकल्प अगर देखा जाए, अगर सही तरीके से ऑगर मशीन काम करती है तो उसके जरिए ही 2 से ढाई दिनों के भीतर पहुंचा जा सकता है। पाइप अंदर जा सकती है और मजदूर उसी पाइप के भीतर से बाहर निकल सकते हैं। ये तमाम जानकारी जो है वो नितिन गडकरी की ओर से दी गई है। उनकी ओर से ये भी कहा गया कि तमाम और मशीनें विकल्प के तौर पर भी यहां पर बुलाई जा रही हैं। जो ऊपर पहाड़ी पर काम लगातार जारी है उसका भी जिक्र उनकी ओर से किया गया कि वहां पर भी ड्रिलिंग का काम लगातार जारी है और इसके साथ ही इसके बैक साइड में टनल के वहां पर भी ड्रिलिंग का काम जारी है। सबसे बड़ी बात, स्विट्जरलैंड और अमेरिका के जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं उनसे भी लगातार बातचीत जारी है। IIT के जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं उनसे बातचीत लगातार जारी है। भूविज्ञान के जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं उनसे बातचीत लगातार जारी है। भीतर गए थे नितिन गडकरी और उन्होंने साफ तौर पर कहा कि अंदर भी हालात का जायजा लिया है और जो अंदर फंसे हुए मजदूर हैं उनका भी हालचाल जाना है। अभी उनका मनोबल जो है वो बंधा हुआ है, उन्हें खाना पीना सब कुछ प्रोवाइड करने की जो कोशिश है वो यहाँ पर लगातार जारी है और एक विकल्प के तौर पर भी एक रास्ता यहाँ पर तैयार किया गया है जिससे मजदूरों को अब अभी तक ड्राई फ्रूट्स पहुँच रहे थे लेकिन रोटी, ब्रेड, ऐसे जो ठोस खाने के पदार्थ हैं वो भेजे जा सकते हैं। दवाइयाँ यहाँ पर उन्हें प्रोवाइड की जा रही हैं, पानी प्रोवाइड किया जा रहा है और टेक्नोलॉजी यानी कि फोन्स भी कोशिश की जा रही है कि अंदर पहुंचाए जा सकें। लेकिन अभी इसमें समय लगेगा। केंद्रीय मंत्री की तरफ से और मुख्यमंत्री की तरफ से जितनी भी बातें की गई हैं उससे यही समझ में आता है कि अभी 2 से 3 दिन का समय इसमें और लग सकता है। वर्टिकल ड्रिलिंग भी लगातार जारी है और विपरीत परिस्थितियां पहाड़ी इलाकों में होती हैं और ऐसे मामलों में सबसे ज्यादा कि जब मशीन ड्रिल कर रही है और कुछ चट्टान या बड़ा पत्थर आ जाए तो उससे दिक्कतें और ज्यादा बढ़ जाती हैं। इसीलिए धीरे धीरे हर एक विकल्प को खंगाल कर ध्यान में रखते हुए ये काम यहाँ पर जारी है। ये तमाम डिटेल्स जो है वो केंद्रीय मंत्री नितिन गडकरी की ओर से दी गई है। फिलहाल के लिए इतना ही, लेकिन देखना होगा कि आखिरकार कितना और लंबा समय यहाँ पर लगेगा क्योंकि पहाड़ी इलाकों में परिस्थितियां और ज्यादा विपरीत हो जाती हैं।
Right now, we are standing in Uttarakashi, where the unfortunate mishap incident has happened. What basically we have been told that 41 laborers are still stuck inside that tunnel.